Welcome to the first video of my new series, One More Gaming Rant. Basically, it's going to be my first impression of any news going on in gaming. So in other words, it's an excuse for me to fucking rant my ass off. Now these are just my opinion about information I have on hand, so don't get pissed off. I may be wrong, but please discuss in the comments below. I would love to see what you guys think and have to say about the topic. So it would seem that Disney has put LucasArts to rest. They published and developed many of the Star Wars games. I have a bit of mixed feelings about this. When I first heard this, like any true Star Wars fan, my first thought was fuck Mickey Mouse and his Mickey Mouse Club. Instead of jumping on the fuck Disney bandwagon, I took a second to think about this. Part of me is still a little shocked and angry about George Lucas selling the franchise to Disney. Well, that's another rant for another time. There's enough rage there on that story alone to send me to an early grave. After taking the time to think about it, I have to be honest guys, I'm not all that surprised. It's hard for me to remember the last great game LucasArts actually published. Now let me say that again. It's hard to remember their last great game. There are okay games that they developed or published, but nothing that is amazing or did anything to really shock the world. What about Force Unleashed? Lego Star Wars? Give me a break guys. Force Unleashed was a bunch of empty promises, and don't get me wrong, it was okay. It was playable, and it could be enjoyable, but I'm talking about great games here. I'm looking at the list here of games LucasArts had anything to do with, and a lot of these they just placed their name on the box as the publisher, and really had jack shit to do with the games. So it's kind of like Cartman taking credit for Jimmy's fish stick joke on South Park. It's hard to give LucasArts credit on some of these games here, but for the sake of this rant, I have to do it. So honestly, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 are the last great games that came to mind. And these came out back in 2003 and 2004. But once again, these games were developed by BioWare and Obsidian Entertainment, and LucasArts only published it. Now, Knights of the Old Republic 2 had issues and felt rushed, but if you ever pick up the PC version, I do highly recommend you download the Restored Content mod. This mod rebuilds parts of the game that had never been completed. And once you start playing it, get ready for a great time. Before those two games, we have Rogue Squadron 3 and 2, and then Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast. The problem is some of these games came out over a decade ago. We have young gamers playing today who at the time of these games releases were even unable to wipe their own asses. That's how long it's been since LucasArts had anything to do with an actual great game. Like any Star Wars fan, I was excited about Star Wars 1313, but part of me kind of felt that it might end up like Force Unleashed. I mean, it might have been awesome, it might have been great. It would seem that Disney is looking at an external partner to finish the game, so there is some hope at the end of this shitstorm, but guys, don't get your hopes up. If the game does not get made, Mickey and friends are just going to feed off your tears. So this is where the mixed bag comes in. The statement that Disney released reads, "After evaluating our position in the games market, we've decided to shift LucasArts from internal development to a licensing model, minimizing the company's risk while achieving a broader portfolio of quality of Star Wars games." So it's not the end of Star Wars games. So don't go and panic on us. What it does mean is that developers can continue to make the games if they license the franchise. So it is a mixed bag, and it's great that it would give us more of our beloved Star Wars franchise, but it might open up the floodgates to so much shovelware that my psyche could not handle a new Star Wars Connect every 3 or 6 months. One of the things that does sadden me about this is, yes, LucasArts focused a lot on the Star Wars franchise, but there are other gems they made that had nothing to do with Star Wars. Stuff like The Secret of the Monkey Island, the Grim Fandango series. If you think about it, a lot of the glory days were back in the 90s, and they have not been relevant since then. One of the biggest fuck-ups is that Mickey Mouse is taking a shit on many talented employees who are now without jobs. So in the end, the mouse gave his biggest fuck you to them. Be mad about this, not about the games that could have came out. For all we know, Star Wars 1313 could have been just another Force Unleashed, an okay game, but not the game the franchise deserves. LucasArts' glory days ended over a decade ago. As gamers, Star Wars fans, or geeks, whatever you want to call yourself, we just have to hope that Mickey and friends don't fuck this up even more. My nightmare scenario is that we end up with more licensed shovel crap, because honestly, I still get chills from memories of watching people play Star Wars Connect at my local Best Buy. The game playing in the background is Knights of the Old Republic 2 with that restoration mod that I was talking about. Definitely check it out with that mod if you haven't. Alright guys, I'll catch you next time the gaming industry does something stupid or even amazing that's actually worthy of ranting.